How is it that the GOP speaker finds himself in a situation where Democrats are able to undermine his speakership by tainting him with their support? I think it's because the GOP is in the midst of an identity crisis. As your bank account reflects, as our borders show, as crime in our cities reveals, as the aggression against our nation confirms, as the two-tier justice system reinforces, America is at a tipping point, courtesy of left-wing extremists who now run the Democrat Party. Emails from all of you tell me how distressed you are about what you're seeing. Some of you are confused as to how this chaos, destruction, and lawlessness is even allowed to happen. The answer is both complicated and simple. Let me start with simple. America's fortunes decline as America abandons the Constitution. I try to make the complex understandable in today's preamble. Got an email from someone who asked why we can't charge Joe Biden with treason. For all he's done to our country, I imagine is the reason why he asked. Now, I asked this person, who is we? He sent me a one-word reply. Really? I gathered he wanted a different answer from me. It's easier to blame a talk show host than having to dig into the real problem. Democrats take their anti-American agenda very seriously. They will do anything they need to do to push it through. Obama's myriad violations of the Constitution, Joe Biden's many breaches of law, congressional Democrats impeaching President Trump twice on absurdly predicated cases. The Democrats are committed to burning down the country, and they'll burn down the country to do it. It's a win-win for them. They are united as collectivists in that one goal. Now, on the other side of the equation, you have the GOP, or at least some in the GOP. There are those who are staunch conservatives who earnestly believe in opposing Democrats and doing everything they can to stand in the way of that Democrat agenda that is harming our people. In other words, there are some Republicans equally committed to saving the United States of America as the Democrats are unified in destroying the United States of America. But there's an increasing number of Republicans who are not on board with opposing Democrats in any real or substantive way. They happen to be in leadership positions. In the face of arguably the most anti-American version of the Democrat Party this nation has ever been cursed with, these Republicans have seen fit not only to kneecap real opposition to Democrats, but have facilitated a full funding of all the Democrats' agenda, including the corruption of our once trusted institutions. There are myriad examples to demonstrate the problem. Let's pivot back to the Trump impeachments. The Democrats impeached him twice. The GOP that was in charge of the Senate at the time made sure that Trump had a trial, even though the charges were insane. The reason given was that the Constitution called for it, and history showed that a trial happened in every instance of impeachment in our history. The Democrats fast-tracked both Trump impeachments. Now, let's turn to the GOP. They impeached Alejandro Mayorkas, not Joe Biden, but they took their sweet time in doing it. Took a year to get that vote, and several Republicans actually defended the traitorous instrument of massive, uncontrolled illegal immigration into the United States. After the vote, it took 2 months for the GOP to send the articles over to the Senate, where the Democrats simply shredded the Constitution, refused to hold a trial. Instead of being met with overwhelming GOP opposition and resistance, everybody just moved on. In fact, the GOP leadership, headed by Speaker Johnson, rewarded the Democrats for their unconstitutional activity by scheduling votes on Democrat priorities and funding the cancerous left-wing agenda. Speaker Johnson continues a tradition passed on to him by former Speakers McCarthy, Ryan, and Boehner. Since the GOP took control of the House after the midterms, they have rubber-stamped massive Democrat overspending, fully funding the Democrats' agenda, an agenda that is leading to the erosion of our civil rights, the disintegration of the rule of law, and the abandonment of the U.S. Constitution. Now, because the GOP's leadership's inability or unwillingness to meet the Democrats' destructive agenda with complete and total commitment to opposing that agenda, Congresswoman Green and Congressman Massey have stated they will move to vacate the chair. I'm not sure how much good this is going to do 6 months away from an election. Indeed, President Trump has been trying to unify the fractured GOP and move this discussion until after the election. But that's just kicking the can down the road, isn't it? The GOP always says, hey, we'll fight tomorrow. They say they will define what it means to be a Republican tomorrow. They'll fulfill their promises to their voters tomorrow. And tomorrow never comes.